Afternoon, everybody. This is Jonathan Albin, and this is NycosRPG. We are operating a episode of Game Master's Toolbox in a very unlikely place over in the Just Chatting channel. We're doing this for several reasons. First of which is the overall audience size is considerably larger, and the possibility of getting through to more people per message is higher. So we are playing the lottery, if you will, of viewership, and I don't know how we're going to fare. I know that I am really excited about being here uh, in this potential pool of 300,000 viewers. It would be amazing if I could get 20 viewers, if I could get 50 viewers. But in reality, I would like to get 336,000 viewers because this is a life changer, a world changer idea concept that I'm trying to present. And thus far, I've been very limited in my success at doing so. Now, I'm operating without a headset. I'm probably endangering myself here if I get any weird messages. So give me a second while I reconnoiter and be better prepared for what may be. I am a professional game master and have been for a really long time. I started game mastering when I was 11 years old, which is 49 years ago now, 48 years ago now, 49. And that's a long time to do anything. you know, they say if you do something 5 years, you're accomplished. If you've done something for 10 years, you're a professional. If you've done something for 20 years, you're a veteran. If you've done something for more years than that, then you're a liar. But because most of us don't stick with any one thing that kind of length of time. But there you have it. Today we're going to be talking about quantum die rolling, and die rolling by itself is a chancy activity. Not everybody uses dice or even plays games that have dice in them. So I'm running a risk already because it's only dicey that you know what I'm talking about. But I'm going to want to, no, I'm not going to want to, I want to make sure that you understand that when I say that we're talking about dice, we're talking about dice and the way they are used in computations in a game. And I want to encourage you that if you think of dice, that you'll think twice because there's now an alternative way of thinking about the dice. And once you internalize and understand the concept that I'm going to be presenting, then you won't be able to think of dice without thinking of the alternative options of how to interpret them. And the first thing we have to do when we talk about that is to actually think about dice. When you roll dice, what are you doing? Well, you are, generally speaking, you are attempting to exceed a statistic. You're trying to overcome an odds situation. So, for example, if you are rolling just a single six-sided dice, just a regular cube dice, and you are rolling for a success value of, for example, a four or better. So four, five, or a six will succeed. Well, if a four, five, or six will succeed, that means that a one, two, or three will be a fail. And so we can see that that is three numbers that will succeed and three numbers that would fail. That is a statistical 50-50 shot. The argument would be, well, it's a coin flip, so why don't you flip a coin? Well, there's a dynamic difference in the way we experience them more than anything else. Because if you think of it flipping a coin, we know there's only two choices. It's either going to be up or it's going to be down. Either it's going to be heads or it's going to be tails. And so, therefore, it's hard to think of a coin flip in any other way. But somehow, when we think of a die roll and give it the same percentage, we internally know that while it is absolutely true that the odds are 50% high, 50% low, the reality is that each die roll face has a 1/6 chance, and therefore you have a 3 in 6 chance of success and a 3 in 6 chance of failure. And somehow our mind, our mental structure wants to turn that percentage into better than even chances. And that is, yeah, it is only a 3 in 6 chance, but I feel confident that I will do better on this die roll than I would on another. Why? I can't tell you. It's just that there's a psychological. I'm sure that there's a name for it, and I'm sure that if there's somebody who's watching this show who gets it, they'll be able to do this. But they can calculate it and say, well, according to this is why we do it. But therefore, since it's a either or situation, and it's a 3 in 6 chance situation, then any dice roll that we do with an even Steven middle of the road statistic is only going to be a flat success chance. Well, what if we think of dice differently? Instead of thinking of the die roll as a threshold, target high or this or higher, let's look at the die roll instead as a matrix, and that is that the die roll on its face can give us more than one result. And by that I mean we could theoretically get from one die roll the following possibilities. We could get a perfect success, a complete failure, a wild, crazy success, a complete and abject failure. Just horrible. We could have success, we could have failure, and then finally we could have partial success. And it's not partial success. That's the wavering window in the middle there that is the temptation part, because it gives us a way of looking at the dice that gives us an opportunity to get at least some benefit from a less than successful check. Less than fully successful check, I should say. That seems crazy. How can you do that? One die roll you're going to get one or the other. You're not going to get this array. Well, let's look at, again, think of the dice rolling as a matrix. It's a bracketed formula. And in that bracketed formula, there is an equation. And an equation gives you what the array, the possible options are within that bracket. Then as you roll the dice, you're moving the result up and down on that bracket to see where you are in terms of actual outcome. So with that, let's now look at the key to this. And the key is that I came up with a simple math equation that in percentage dice makes perfect sense, and in any other dice roll isn't quite as obvious. And that is the idea of a double up or a double down result. And the double terminology is a bit of a misnomer because you only double in the case of a double up, but you half in the case of the down, which is technically doubling the lower threshold. But I digress. So let's go with a simple number like a 30. 30 means, when we think of it as a threshold, 30% is not really that great. 30% is well less than half, so it comes out to actually less than a third of the time we're going to succeed. But if we install the matrix, if we install this array, then all of a sudden things change. So the doubled up value of that 30 becomes 60. and the doubled down value becomes 15. 15 doubled is 30, 30 doubled is 60. So this is your array. That means that any answer that falls between the 15 and the 30, actually between 1 and 30, is going to be a success of some sort. Or 1 and 60 will be a success of some sort. So it doubles the size of your space, doubles the size of potential. And now we're talking better than 50%. So now that we're talking about better than 50%, there might catch pique somebody's interest. How can I have a 1 in 3 target, or less than 1 in 3 target, and have a more than 1 in 2, or equal to, more than a 1 in 2 chance of success? Well, here's how it goes. That dice roll that you make is going to resolve an answer that will fit in the array someplace. And whether it falls inside of the array or it falls outside of the array and therefore out in the external matrix, you have got an answer that fits into the whole of the formula. No dice roll you make will ever not fall into the array in some fashion. So let's take a particular case. I've got my dice table here. Let me go ahead and turn my camera off, turn the dice cam on. All right, so if you know how to read percentage dice, this will be easy. If you don't know how to read percentage dice, I'll teach you as we go. So we roll the dice, and we roll a 0, 5. You read the double digits first, because if it was, for example, a 3, it'd be 35, or 85, or 95. In this case, we rolled. Where'd my zeros go? 0, 5. So that 0, 5, if we look at the array and we assume that the target was 30, then it's a double down success because it's lower than the half value of 15. Therefore, on our chart of successes, it wouldn't be a perfect success, which would be only the 0, 1. It would be a wild success, and so therefore that is an even better success than a standard success or straight success. And then above that's the partial. Now, just saying this and trying to explain it is difficult enough. I'm going to be making several dice rolls and explaining each one of them so that you can see what we're talking about, and maybe after the third or fourth dice roll you'll get it. So let's go for a second roll. Again, we're setting a target of 30. So we roll a 0, 1. Just so you can see it. 0, 1. That is the perfect success. The idea is that we set the matrix framework size is going to be a set of numbers between 1 and 100. And we define perfect as 0, 1 and complete as being 0, 0, 0 or 100. And if we set those as the brackets, those are the only two that are either a complete success or a perfect success or a complete failure. And this is only representing the issues of statistical significance in an understandable way, because we as human beings don't see the impossible odds. I mean, when we talk about, say, winning a lottery and somebody says it's 1 out of 26 million or whatever chances, that number doesn't mean anything to us because we can't comprehend a million of anything. We barely can think of 1,000 of anything. Well, we certainly have counted 100 pennies, so we generally know 100 of something, what that number gravity is. So a 1 out of 100 is pretty significant, pretty cool. Alrighty, so therefore that's an example of the perfect success, one of the outliers, if you will, of our matrix. Another 0, 4, so we are still in the bracket of a wild success. This means that it's better than half of what we needed to succeed. And really, these dice do roll fair. I just haven't. There we go. 84. Well, 84, if the threshold was 30, then the double up partial success would be 60. So anything above a 60 would be a failure. Now, I haven't talked about abject failure yet. An abject failure is something called statistical. What I drawing from the definition of statistical significance, and that is that 5% of anything is important. If you have something that counts to 5%, that may mean something. It may be important, and so therefore, in the quantum die rolling mechanism, a roll of a 96, 97, 98, 99, or including the 100 are considered abject failures. Now, 000 or 100 is also, remember, complete failure, so complete failure falls into the abject failure category. In this case, it's just a regular failure. Let's try another one. All right, 16%. 16% is over the threshold for a double down. Because a double down would be 15, so it's a normal. This is a normal, nominal, or straight success. And check it out. That's going to be a success. But even with your regular threshold system, if you said your threshold was 30 or less, this would work. Track up more. 55. 55 is less than the double up, so it is a partial success. And the idea here is that when you think of attempting something, we all strive to do something and succeed at it. But many times we don't quite accomplish it, but at least we get a piece of the action. At least we get some satisfaction out of the attempt. And so the partial success, the double up success, is meant to be just that, a way to, maybe you didn't accomplish what you were going for, but at least you feel like you tried. You got a part of it. Let's do a couple more. 12. Again, doing really well on the dice today. That's another double down success. It's less than it's less than the 15, and therefore it's a better success by half than what I would normally need. And one more. 37. 37 is a partial. It's over the 30, which is the target, but it is within the double up success. So when you think of the dice as an array, you use this mechanism. The double up and double down values give you the defining characteristics of the array. You have the opportunity to get a perfect and a complete, perfect success or complete failure. And that notice that the failure becomes the diminishing return. As you progress in skill from a 30 to a 31 to a 32 to a 52, 53, eventually you hit the point where there's no window for failure, except for abject failure, the top 5%, or a complete failure. In which case, those are then considered to be statistical variance and a statistical anomaly. So the 100 is still your bane forever because it is a complete failure, but it becomes less and less and less significant as far as possibilities, and less and it's it's never less likely, but it is perceptually less likely because you have so many more of the possible die rolls that are chalked up for partial or complete success. Therefore, since failure becomes a diminishing return, we get better and better at things, and pretty soon we are accomplished at them. And that's the way the world really works. If we are playing golf, we may not become pro golf players, but we certainly improve our game by practicing, right? And the failure to participate gets to be smaller. So, alrighty. Well, I wanted to get this video made, and I got it done. So, if you stick with me in the other episodes that I do, we'll discover other NycosRPG possibilities. If you've never heard of NycosRPG before or seen any of my videos, check out my channel here on Twitch. NycosRPG. I also have recordings of my videos on YouTube at NycosRPG as well. And of course, for additional information and details on how you can get a copy of purchase a copy of the NycosRPG Dark Shards book, check out www.nycosrpg.com. Alrighty, I want to take it over from here and thank you very much for your time, and I'll see you next time. Ciao.